Electric cars have come a long way in the last few years. With better performance and improved batteries to extend range, some manufacturers now believe that the motoring public is ready to make the switch from gas to electric.
Electrification is, we believe, a cornerstone of the future. It gives a better environment, it gets actually in some aspects better driving.
And one reason for that is performance. Even a small electric motor can deliver huge amounts of pulling power, producing acceleration to humble more powerful petrol cars.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can see our range of electric mobility concepts. And if you think sounds all sensible and no fun, wait till you see this car launched from a stoplight with 290 Newton-meter of torque.
That's enough oomph to impress even someone used to driving regularly above the speed limit.
Well, I think it's inevitable that with the way the world is going, that the demand for zero-emission cars is there. The public wants it, but to come and have an e-car which has zero emissions that will really be able to be used by the public in their everyday lives is something that's very important.
The A-Class proves that we are not talking about show cars, but that we have a full range, a full portfolio of zero-emission vehicles, starting with a Smart already in its second generation, continuing with the A-Class you were just mentioning, up to the B-Class with fuel cell, an electric vehicle as well, and ultimately with the SLS, a full electric car which we will launch in a few years as well.
BMW too is embracing electric. The Mini E has now been on the market for 2 years, giving the company plenty of data from real road use and not just the test track. The firm will be using this information to develop a luxury electric car, but still believes the industry has a long way to go.
In 2013 we bring what we call the Megacity vehicle, which is a series vehicle, and I think this will be the first premium vehicle into this new powertrain configuration. Over time, we'll see some gradual increase here, but I think it'll be a relatively slow pace in terms of the actual adoption of full electric vehicles.
That hasn't stopped Renault-Nissan from attempting a serious push into the mass market with the Leaf. And CEO Carlos Ghosn sees a 10% market share for EVs in Europe within a decade. But some analysts think the public is simply not ready for full electric cars, meaning hybrids will remain the mainstay.
Well, consumers certainly are interested in the idea of pure electric vehicles. The question, of course, remains, are EVs actually ready for market? Well, Nissan's Leaf will certainly help answer part of that question. But the limited range of pure electric vehicles doesn't make them suitable for many American drivers, who certainly by European standards frequently drive exceptionally long distances. Well, hybrids or an extended range electric vehicle are more practical than the United States.
That's the tactic being used by GM with its push into the market. Its range extender, Chevrolet Volt, and its European counterpart, the Opel Ampera, are powered by an electric motor that can be recharged either from the mains or by an onboard engine.
It has a better electric vehicle mobility for 60 kilometers and then a range extender which makes you drive another 500 kilometers plus.
Consumers may be wary about electric cars, but governments are emphatically behind the technology and are trying to stimulate the industry with incentives. Electric car buyers, for example, can claim a $7,500 rebate in the US and up to a £5,000 subsidy in the UK. But such measures only serve to underline the fact that the buying public are far from keen on cars that are still expensive, have a low range and require hours of charging between trips.
I think we have a way to go before you have serial production of significant volume of electrical vehicles. There are not only the technical issues that need to be resolved, the cost aspects, but then also the infrastructure. And last but not least, the consumers needs to be convinced that these are, full good alternatives to any conventional powertrain.
By and large, even in a horizon of maybe 10 years, petrol and diesel engines are still going to be a very large and significant part of our overall business.
And of course, all of this ignores the question of whether electric cars are green at all. The production of many components for electric cars is in itself hugely polluting, and even though EVs release zero emissions at the point of use, that power has to come from somewhere, leading to accusations they simply shift emissions from the road to the power station.
The production of electricity needs to be clean, of course, but it's much easier to control the emissions from one big pipe, the pipe where you produce the electricity, rather than to have to control it in the millions of pipes of the cars.
It's worth remembering, electric cars have been around for over 100 years, but for the last century, people have chosen petrol over the plug. As oil runs out, however, that choice may start to disappear, and then the future really could be electric.